Welcome to week 3 of our Jolly in July crafting series. If you're new to the channel, my name is Lauren. I'm the artist and quilter behind Garden Girl Studio. And for the month of July, I am teaming up with Stacy of Stacy Creates Stuff to bring you some holiday crafting tutorials. Today, Tuesday, is our stitching day and we have a fun project for you. I've designed this Santa snack station placemat. It is one of my fabric designs in my Spoonflower shop. I will link it in the description below. And I'm going to show you how to finish the edges on this project so that you can turn it into a Santa snack station so Santa has a place to get all of his snacks on Christmas Eve. My mom is going to be helping me with this tutorial because she is my edge finishing pro. Anytime I need a binding, how to finish edges, she is like my expert, my go-to person. She knows how to explain well. She has good tips and tricks. So she's going to be helping us out today with this tutorial. But it's an easy one. We're going to get you all set up. So if you're ready to get started, let's jump right on in. I am going to be using a fat quarter of this material. It is linen cotton canvas, so it's nice and sturdy. It holds up well. You can order as a simple fat quarter, or you can order a whole yard just like me, and you can use them for gifts or to give away to family members for the holidays. You're going to want to make sure that you have nice, clean cut edges. You want a nice squared off fat quarter for this project to make the edging process nice and easy. And without further ado, here's my mom to show us how to finish off these edges.
So we want to turn under the raw edges so that they don't ravel. So you can use one of these two tools, just a regular old ruler, or you can use a measuring gauge. The measuring gauge is kind of cool because it really helps you. You turn under the edge and then you just put right here, this dark green part. And I've got the gauge at 1/2 inch. I'm just going to finger press that as I go along here before I commit anything with my iron. It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, I don't think Santa's really going to care. And I'm just using my fingernail to kind of press down a little bit. And then we're going to get the iron out here in just a second. My iron is preheating as we go. That down a little bit. Okay. And one more. Okay. And now we're going to go back over with the iron. And I'm just going to hold the iron there for just a few seconds. And then I'm going to move along for a few seconds. And then move along for a few seconds. And then just get that last part. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our fingers and fold that raw edge back to the fold like that. And then I'm just going to iron a little bit. And then I'm going to reposition again. And just get it as best you can. I'm going to hold that iron on there for a good 5 seconds. Okay, and I'm going to continue down here a little bit. And I'm just going to press. And while that's down, I'm just going to give it a quick press this way. And we're just going to continue to do this all across the line. We've just finished folding down the second edge. Now we're going to go to the short edges. And we're going to double fold them just like we did with the long edges. So we just finished folding the corners on the short side. Now, here's the special trick for the corner. Sometimes the corners get bulky when you do this. And so what you're going to want to do is kind of unravel what you've done, okay? And we're just going to take a little snip out of this corner here. And that's going to reduce our bulk substantially. Okay, so a little snip here. And then just repeat on all 4 corners. We're going to repeat this on all 4 corners, but I just want to show you, you would fold back again this way. And you can see that there's a lot less bulk, and that's going to help us when we go to sew it. I'm going to just clip the sides here and some of these long edges just to hold that beautiful press that we did. I hate to lose it. Before you start, make sure you check your tension. We're working today with linen cotton canvas. little thicker than what I'm used to. So I'm going to play with my machine just to make sure I have the tension right on the top and the bottom before we start. We finished the pressing step. Now we're going to the sewing machine because what we're going to do is stitch the edge down. But before I start, there's a couple things that you need to have on hand. You need presser feet. If you happen to have a presser foot with a little flange like that, those are wonderful for top stitching. But don't worry, if you don't have that, you have just a regular old foot, you can use kind of the inside of the foot as a gauge in terms of trying to keep your stitching as even as possible as we top stitch around. And then the third thing they like to have handy is just a simple piece of fabric. This is just a folded piece of fabric. And we're going to use this when we get close to the corners because sometimes sewing machines get hung up. And I'll show you how to use this. Before we start stitching, I just want to explain we're going to be using a straight stitch. I have mine at a 3.0 stitch length. I'm using the flanged foot. And you can see my needle is right where the fold is. So I want to go maybe 2 segments to the left. I'm going to try to get as close to the edge of the folded edge as I can. So probably 1/8 of an inch from the folded edge. So as we start, we're going to need to do a little stay stitch. And that's really simple. Just a couple stitches forward, a couple stitches back, and then we're just going to move along here. Okay, now I'm going to pause here in a minute because the flange foot, so you have to lift it up to get it to the intersection. I'm going to take this piece of fabric, so I'm going to put that just about behind the needle because I'm asking the presser foot to climb and it's going to need a little bit of help. And I'm just going to stitch 1, 2, and maybe a little short stitch right there before I pivot onto the next side. Okay, gone maybe a tad too far, so we go back over here, and we'll just take another stitch back, that's all. So we can make it nice and easy. Okay, so here we go. And we're just going to continue on this side to the end. Just keeping my fold against my flange. And after this next corner, I'm going to show you with the other foot that I have, in case you don't have a flanged foot, you'll still be able to do this. So I'm switching out the presser feet from the flange foot to a more common foot. And on this foot, I can either use the inside of this U here, or I can use this little notch here. I just happen to know that this little notch in this foot is 1/4 of an inch. So we're gonna, or 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to probably go over there to 1/8 of an inch. There we go. And because there's no flange, I have to go a little bit slower in order to keep it as straight as possible. But I don't think Santa will mind a few wobbles. I think he'll know that we've put the effort in to making this a great mat for him. And we're just going to continue down. And before I get to the end again, we will use our little piece of fabric to help this particular presser foot jump. So as we approach the corner, I'm going to release this. I'm just going to neaten this up a little bit. I see there's a couple of threads underneath there. And I'm going to get ready to put this underneath the back of the presser foot. I want to get a little bit closer before I do that. Now, this particular presser foot has skis at the beginning of it. So it's going to climb a little bit. But you may find that you don't have skis. You have something that's very flat, in which case you're going to need to use this sooner. As soon as the toes hit the fold. It's not under the needle, it's just behind the needle, but it's going to give us enough height that your machine probably isn't going to wind. Okay, there we go. We're on it, which is great. And sometimes you kind of have to coax it even at the corner here a little bit. Just give it until it gets on. Remember, it's at a height, and it's going to be coming down a couple of levels here. And if your machine, as you can see, this one is not real happy, just lift it up, scoot it forward just a tad, and just continue on. There you go. Now it's happy again. So we're completing the rotation around. I'm going to just slowly stitch until I know I've met the other stitches, and then I'm going to reverse to stay stitch it, and we're good. Now just release it and cut your threads close. We have stay stitched around the edge. Now we've stitched all the way around, and this is ready for Santa and the elves and the reindeer's snacks. You did it.
Yay, you did it! Look at our nice placemat. It came out so cute. Santa's gonna absolutely love this on Christmas Eve, I'm sure. There's a nice spot in the center where you can put some cookies out for Santa or some of your favorite treats. There's also a spot for some reindeer nibbles so that you can add some vegetables or some good reindeer snacks so that Rudolph and his friends don't get too hungry on the long journey across the world. There's a place for a cozy cup of your favorite beverage, whether it be a cup of milk to go with those cookies or a cup of hot cocoa. And of course, there's a place for some sweet treats because, well, let's be real, the elves at the North Pole need a nice little snack too. So you can wrap up some treats for Santa to go so you can bring them back to the North Pole to give something a little sweet to his elf friends. Thank you so much for joining me for this fun project. Again, I will have this fabric linked in the description below. You can also buy already finished tea towels on Spoonflower. So if you just love this project but don't want to take the time to stitch, I'll have that linked in the description below as well. Thank you again so much for hanging out, and be sure to stay tuned for the rest of the week for even more craft tutorials. Tomorrow, Stacy is going to be showing us how to make paper ornaments. They're going to be beautiful. Stacy is a fantastic paper crafter. You're not going to want to miss it. So be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow's tutorial. Until next time, friends, happy stitching.